Hey guys, we are looking today at the Spyderco Waterway. I'm going to open this review up with a test. So it's been sitting in a saltwater solution, and I'm talking like dead sea level salt water, like a big splush of salt, for 4 days now. And I'm very interested to see. I've sort of walked past it a couple of times. It kind of looks okay, but I'm really interested to see it up close. So let's get out there and check it out. Alrighty. Ooh, it's been very cold, so it is very cold water. Well, there you go. So yeah, it's pretty hard to accidentally stuff this knife up. It is, almost impervious to whatever elements it's going to come across in, I would say, your day-to-day life. Unless you're like a volcano doctor and you're swimming around in pools of sulfur, which even then, who knows. But yeah, the combination of the LC200N steel and the G10 steel, you ain't going to be able to ruin this too much. So anyway, onto the main review of the knife. So I guess I'll start off by showing this in a size comparison versus some other knives. So that is how big the Spyderco Waterway is. So full disclosure on this review, I got this sent to me not by Spyderco but by Lance, the designer, Lance Clinton. I guess you get a few of them or whatever when you do a knife design deal with Spyderco. So he must watch this channel, so therefore I assumed he must see what I do to knives. So I'm like, cool, yeah, I'll try it. So I didn't pay any money for this knife. However, I'm not keeping this knife. I generally don't want to form relationships with companies and knife makers and things like that. I like to sort of do my own thing. But yeah, Lance was a gentleman, and I'm sending this one on probably to Advanced Knife Bro next for him to check out. So that's how it got here, and I guess a bit of a spoiler about how much I like this knife. I didn't like the idea of being without it, so I went and bought my own, or I bought a brand new one from DLT Trading to either give on to the next reviewer and keep this one if I ruined it, or just use for when this one goes. And because I haven't been able to ruin this one at all, I guess I'll be opening that one up as soon as this one hits the post. So that's that as well. So let's talk about the elements of the knife. Let's point the camera down towards the tabletop so you're not distracted by all this goodness behind it, huh? So you can probably see in the comparisons, this is quite a sort of slender and thin knife. It's definitely thin this way, which is going to be, I guess, restrictive to some users who want a big burly broomstick-handled wood carving knife. But my argument is that this is really much needed in Spyderco's fixed blade lineup. This is a knife that could be for anyone. Yeah, Lance's purpose for the knife is as a kayak fishing knife, and he's got features on it that are great for kayak fishing. The fillet style blade, the super grippy G10 handle, and of course, the absolute waterproofness of the package. It's great for that, but my argument is that this could be, you could buy this knife for your mother-in-law who puts all of her knives in the dishwasher and doesn't care, and she will still notice a tangible benefit in having this knife, because she will say, hey, that knife you got me just doesn't rust. I've done, whatever. I've done the same to this one as all my other ones, and this one's actually still fine, and it will probably hold an edge for a whole lot longer than a 50 CR MO knives that most people have as kitchen knives as well. So I'm going to say that this really is probably Spyderco's most versatile and all-around fixed blade in terms of just both performance and also just appearance. Spyderco has some other great, normal fixed blade knives. The Junction's really good. The Bill Moran is excellent. But those have some slight oddnesses to them that are probably going to make them less widely accessible, whereas this really does adopt that Occam's razor, keep it simple philosophy of design, and I just think it's wonderful. Wonderful choice. This could be, if this was, if he was still around at the time, you could mistake this for like an old Almar design. I mean, obviously without the hole in it, but just simple black handle, steak knife looking, but, nice and manageable for slightly bigger jobs as well. So really, really cool. Really well done there. Love the design of it. Looking at the blade, you've got fillet style. It's fairly thin. It's about the 3.2 millimeters, I think, at the thickest part. It's a slicing blade, so it's a blade that is likely going to be largely, successful at culinary procedures. Of course, Spyderco's flat grind on their pocket knives is great for packages and all that stuff, so as would this be too. So just a bit of a thickness comparison there between this and the Spydie Chef. So you're looking, about 3 millimeters or so. I'm kind of shooting from the hip here, so I'll put the specs on the screen. Let's clear up any oddness there. The handle is really rough G10. Now, if this was a folding knife, then you'd be a bit, cynical of that, because often G10 with a pocket clips involved can be a real pocket shredder. This of course isn't on the pocket though, is it? It's on a sheath on your hip. So unless you're wearing like your silk fancy bushcraft shirt, then it's probably not going to cause you any issues. On really sort of delicate fabrics, it may scuff it up and pull some threads a little tiny bit, but I haven't noticed anything just wearing it around just day to day, and it hasn't worn any holes in my favorite jumper or anything like that. So it's just good rough G10 for obviously gripping when you're in a boat, and a mistake such as dropping your knife could mean you never see it again because it's at the bottom of the ocean. So there you go. What I'd love to see is a bright orange version of it for like hunting, or for I guess also fishing, or even a cork handled version would be awesome as well, because then it would likely float, or I guess even then you could just put a float lanyard attachment on it as well, which do exist. So I guess those are other options on the handle, but he's gone super basic, super just, no one's hand wouldn't fit this. It's not going to fit everyone's hand perfectly. You might get a knife that's got just the right contours. The Mule from Spyderco is pretty close for me. This is about perfectly contoured for my hands, but then you run risks with a handle like this. It's, maybe someone's fingers won't quite fit those humps. Whereas this one, just basic, really is a handle for anyone. It's like a kitchen knife shaped handle. Really, really good. I mean, on kitchen knife, this isn't a perfect kitchen knife. It does have this bit here, so that is going to be something that inhibits board cutting just a little bit. Obviously, resting like this, there's a bit of sort of negative non-contact space there. But of course, the belly is that, so you could certainly use this for all of your food prep, and just generally as your kitchen utility knife without a worry at all. Nice and safe. You're not going to float up on it. Just really versatile, guys. This is just really well executed, and it's funny that it took like a Forumite to sort of make just a nice, simple, and again, I know I'm saying it again, like Almar style general utility knife for Spyderco. I just think it's really good.
Hey,
table's wet. 300. Yep, definite flat spot. 385 using my edge. Alright, so just looking at the handle, I mean, this is probably the one area the knife isn't amazing at, as being like a wood carving knife. So this is probably my favorite fixed blade knife. This is the Greystone Cutlery, I think just a camp knife. I don't know if he's got a name for it. And my other two favorites, which is this Alex Stron small fixed blade and this Bradford Guardian, all sort of have bigger, stockier, more hand-filling handles, and they do excel in wood carving a little bit more, having just that extra bit of filling in the palm there. So you just find it rocks back and forward less, like it's got less bounce around in your hand. This is quite a thin little handle, definitely more for smaller, precise jobs. The grip, of course, makes it's not going to fall out. Neither of either of those, but just in terms of if you're really wailing on a piece of wood or something, you're going to have a little bit of rock, but that's probably the harshest criticism I could level at this blade. That and the Spidey hole, which I just don't think is quite necessary, but I do understand they probably just insist on. Just thinking a knife that's probably food focused, there's a little less catch points, the better, is all I would suggest. But geez, I'm really sort of grasping at stuff to say in terms of the cons, just to balance out this review a bit. The sheath it comes with is a Bolteron sheath, which is a Kydex-like material. It's apparently quite good with the elements. It's got a drain hole in it, in line with that hole, keeping the knife wet all the time. Not that this knife couldn't stay wet most of the time, as you saw at the start. But this Bolteron sheath comes with Spyderco's G-clip, I think it's called. And this is a clip that goes over a belt or even on the pocket of your pants and holds it pretty steadily. Always best over a belt though, but if you've got a thick seam or something, then it will probably grasp quite nicely and fall into this kind of channel there. I always find these easy to get on and off, but you can get them off just by kind of like flipping the edge of your belt up and over this and kind of like levering it off. You can maneuver the screws so it's a horizontal style carry as well. So overall, absolutely fine. Vertical carry, it is quite tall on the hip. It goes up a fair way, as you can probably imagine from there. And also, I guess I'll show me wearing it. Yeah, for sure. Danglers are great if you're going out walking with your knives and stuff. But yeah, it's a completely serviceable sheath and, pretty darn good. And overall, I think this is a pretty competitively priced item. This is about the same price as like what some sort of higher end Japanese kitchen utility knives can be. And whilst it is not a spec-driven kitchen utility knife, it will fulfill that same job rather well. And I think the added bonuses of it being impervious to misuse is just almost second to none. This is probably my favorite of Spyderco's fixed blade knives, and this is possibly one of my favorite fixed blade knives. It's just really rung a bell with me for sure. Last of all, let's check out how this one that I've done all that nasty stuff to, let's check out how it's held up against this brand new one from the box. And we'll see those finishes and compare the two of them. Right. Now the light is going to play some tricks on us, but there's a little bit more sheen on the factory one. Still, I guess, some slight, I don't know, maybe some uneven fogginess on the one that's been literally left in salt water for days and in meat for a day and in a grapefruit for a day. But yeah, there you go. That should just speak a few volumes to the durability of this stuff. So there you go, guys. Look, I hope you've enjoyed this review, and I just really recommend this knife really strongly. So there we go. I'll see you in the next video, guys. Goodbye.